Hello, everyone. I am Karan Srivastava. I'm Director of Product Management at ServiceNow. And first of all, I want to start the presentation by saying why the heck ServiceNow is here at an ICS security event. I've gotten this question quite a bit today. But as you guys know, we have heard this over and over again, how important it is to do asset inventory, how important it is to do vulnerability management, security incident response. And if you are familiar with some of ServiceNow's products like IT operations management, security operations, and our most famous product, IT service management, you would starting to get an idea of why I'm here today. So today I'm specifically going to talk about how the landscape of IT and OT are coming together and how ServiceNow's operational technology management is helping customers today to manage unplanned downtime, to cut costs, and also improve the security aspects of OT environment that they have. Having a unified plan of governance is helping CISOs and CIOs across the manufacturing environment by using ServiceNow. So let me start by giving some introduction of what ServiceNow did before we jumped into operational technology management. We spoke to numerous manufacturers across the manufacturing horizontal, and collected information about what is some of the most important things to them today. And we found out that OT, as everybody here knows, is the heartbeat for manufacturing. And with Industry 4.0, with rapid modernization, with industrial IoT devices adoption, what CIOs and CISOs and other manufacturers and other important figures in manufacturing arena are realizing that their cybersecurity risk has gone up significantly, which has led to any lot of unplanned downtime that they were not managing previously, and that has led to higher cost. Our research shows that in automotive industry, an hour of unplanned downtime can lead to anywhere from $250,000 to $750,000 in losses. I mean, this is a significant amount of money that manufacturers are losing today. It's not a secret. OT environment is the second most attacked environment today. And you have seen numerous examples of it. Colonial Pipeline is one of the most recent ones that pops in my mind. And so we started looking at what ServiceNow has historically offered in the world of IT and what can we bring in the world of operational technology that will be extremely useful to manufacturers. So some of the main challenges that I would like to list, the very first one is lack of visibility. Manufacturers today don't have good visibility into their operational technology asset environment. They are still using some of the old school tools to manage OT assets, using spreadsheets, using Visio. I mean, these are archaic tools which are labor intensive, not accurate, and cannot be used from a strategic standpoint to manage operational technology assets. And which leads me to the next point, which is manual processes. Handling OT without using any kind of digital workforce tool, whether it's emails, I've seen manufacturers use sticky notes that they would go and paste on OT assets to tell a technician what is wrong with it or what steps that are needed to be taken. I mean, that introduced a lot of human error. And at the end of the day, what I can't see, I can't protect, right? So visibility becomes very important, and the context around visibility with respect to production becomes very important. Same thing for security. There are so many solutions out there, and you will see so many more this week that has created multiple different data silos. And those data silos may not talk to each other, may not provide a unified view. That is just a playground for cyber threat, for cyber security related issues, right? And that creates an issue around mismanagement of, for example, vulnerabilities or any security incident that exist in this OT environment. And last but not least, probably one of the most important ones that most of you might be realizing is the drain of knowledgeable workforce in the manufacturing space. Like a lot of individuals were either managing OT assets historically, right? Not a lot has changed in terms of how OT assets were managed. A lot of these experienced technicians were holding information in their head, not even in their computers, and that makes it very challenging when they leave to replace them, to bring somebody else. And so knowledge and knowledge management has become an important piece of it. So using emails, using sticky notes, using word of mouth communication is not the most effective way to manage your OT assets. It's not scalable whatsoever. And it becomes challenging when you can't scale that approach across all your production sites, right? And with more and more digitalization, with more and more adoption of OT technology, the bigger, the complex this problem is going to become. So what we have done, we have taken IT operations management, security operations, and IT service management, and have married them with manufacturing requirements to create operational technology management environment, our offering. And currently it stands on 4 major pillars around foundation, visibility, vulnerability response, and service management. And I'll talk about each of those. But before I go there, I need to talk about what is the foundation of all of it, right? Folks who are familiar with our CMDB might know that database can accept different variety of data. So one of the first things that we did was we created dedicated OT-specific classes in our CMDB that can accept data like SCADAs, historians, PLCs, robotics, sensors. It is in line with the Purdue model. That's why I'm showing the Purdue model. And it is important because that air gap, the DMZ, is shrinking quite a bit. And it is important to understand which asset comes from OT environment and which asset comes from the IT environment. And all of that data being in CMDB can give you that IT OT view in one platform, in one dashboard that a CISO or CIO might need to make decisions with respect to securing their OT assets. So laid the foundation by creating new classes in CMDB. So now the classes are created, and we know that there are multiple different data silos. There are multiple different tools that are available to manufacturers today that collects OT asset information, whether it's in Microsoft Excel, whether they're using an OT security partner, or whether it's in one of the old school systems that they might have that is not supposed to be for asset management, but they are using one because there isn't an end-to-end asset management solution out there. So what we do from a foundation standpoint is we have created a connector, for example, to Microsoft Excel. We also work with numerous OT security partners to create integrations that will allow us to bring the data, the asset data, into CMDB. And again, I'm not trying to say that we will become the single source of truth. What I'm trying to say here is we will become the unified source of truth. And I'll talk a little bit about it towards the end. And it is important to know the difference because we are not trying to replace any of your existing tool. We are trying to bring in the right information, which is pertinent to make effective decision with respect to your security environment. So now that we have brought in all of the asset information in CMDB, so what, right? Now it's a glorified Excel spreadsheet, but that's not where we stop. It is important to contextualize that asset information with respect to your production processes. For example, if there is a critical bottleneck production process that has a particular sensor on it, and if that goes down, that production line shuts down, it might affect your entire manufacturing operations. And so it is important to not only understand the criticality of the assets, but it's also important to understand criticality of the assets with respect to, in context of, the production processes that might exist. So what we have done is provided an opportunity to our manufacturers to bring production processes, that equipment model, and model it in ServiceNow. That expands our CSTM and shows the criticality of the assets with respect to the equipment model. And you can see it on the screen that it can be visualized in form of a service map. Also, it can be seen as its own workspace. So now we have provided a place to put all of our OT asset information. We have provided ability to visualize it and contextualize it with respect to the production processes. So now that there is a good amount of visibility that is available, we can start thinking about security aspects. So our logical next step was to provide integrations and ability to accept vulnerabilities with respect to those assets that were previously discovered. So now what you can see in ServiceNow is you can see OT assets that sit on particular production line that is in a particular site, whether it's here in Miami or in London, doesn't matter. You can see all of that on one platform. And then you can also see vulnerabilities with respect to the OT assets that are already in CMDB. For people who are familiar with ServiceNow's IT solution, might starting to realize that this sounds very familiar because this is exactly how our world of IT works, where we have the capability of bringing IT assets within CMDB and then associated with vulnerable items. So for somebody who is sitting at the corporate level looking at all of their connected assets, regardless whether it's IT or OT, it provides a unified, complete view to them from a security landscape standpoint. The way our vulnerability workflow works is we bring in the vulnerabilities associated with the OT asset. We use the rules that are set up by organizations, and that takes into consideration the business criticality, the criticality of the assets, to create a risk score. And that risk score will help organizations prioritize those vulnerable items. Which ones need to be mitigated initially fast, which one can be deferred. And our platform that has a built-in AI tool will help you automate that process. And we can use our service management tool to do the future steps of change management as well as exception management once those vulnerabilities and the associated risk factor with those vulnerabilities are identified. And so now we brought in the assets, we brought in the context, we're bringing in the vulnerabilities. By bringing in our service management offering, what we do is we provide an ability to bring in digital workflows associated with those assets, right? You can create remediation groups where once a digital workflow is triggered, the right stakeholders, the parties that are responsible to do a software upgrade or a patch, can take those actions and it doesn't get lost in communication. There is a record, there is a paper trail now that is established by bringing in the right stakeholders by using our service management application. So I spoke about unified source of truth. As I mentioned, we don't want to become single source of truth. We take information from different databases. We take information from Excel. We take information from our OT security partner. We bring that information so that it creates an environment of accurate information that is required to manage your OT environment from a security standpoint as well as from visibility standpoint. So ServiceNow is in a unique position to build more and more integrations because we have that capability available, and that process is standardized so that it's not challenging for you or for a customer to use different integrations to bring the asset information in. And that's what makes CMDB so powerful. So at the end of the day, what we do is we provide that workflow that sits on top of all of your different data silos, accepting information like asset information, vulnerable items, so that you can quickly recover from any security incident associated with your OT assets. That makes those systems more readily available to improve the operational to ensure the operational continuity, and overall increases the confidence in your security environment around OT as well as IT. So ServiceNow in the OT environment lets you utilize our multi-instance cloud infrastructure to access the information readily, to deep dive into the asset information, where you can, as I mentioned, you can separate the information based on different sites, different plants, and different roles within those organizations will be able to view, either have a unified view or just a focused view of the assets that are assigned to them. And that's the power of OT or ServiceNow platform. But it doesn't stop there, right? So OT is one piece from a manufacturing standpoint. Our platform, because we use one platform for both IT and OT, it will help you resolve any customer-related issues once you deliver the product. It can help you with PO management. It really empowers the factory workers, even before any incident happens, really do that knowledge management piece well, where we can capture the information using our inbuilt tools and then publish reports which can be readily made available and can be used for training new incoming batch of technicians and workers who work in the factory environment. And it also helps support other adjacent functionalities within manufacturing, whether it's finance, whether it's marketing, associated with manufacturing. So it just doesn't stop there. It's one platform that can manage different aspects of your manufacturing. Perfect, so that's all I had. We have great people from ServiceNow who are experts in security, and I wanted to put out some time to take any questions that you guys might have, and we'll do our best to answer those questions. Sure.
Your normal commercial offering in the cloud is very well liked, appreciated, et cetera. For the OT side, do you guys have a separate, some sort of more secure, like a GovCloud equivalent of ServiceNow that you're running for the OT side, or how's that architected?
So do you want to take that, or I can try answering it? So for government operations, for defense and security standpoint, we have the FedRAMP instance that is available. But from a security standpoint, I think if you're already using it on the IT side, the security is very well established for the overall ServiceNow cloud. Do you want to add?
Thanks, man. So normally for utilities, they don't want to do anything. They don't want to have anything to do with the cloud for the most part. Now the enterprise side, different story, but on the OT side for sure. So, the FedRAMP might be a possible answer that some of them might be willing to accept, but to the extent you can ensure or help make them more comfortable with using a sort of cloud service for that would be great. And that's why I sort of trying to tease out is, what are you guys doing specifically other than FedRAMP, which is a great answer?
That's what we're doing. So I think if you want to talk more specifically, we could. We've seen some customers that have been able to achieve their requirements with like GCC or NSC.
Any more questions?
So regarding the integration, CMDB, I'm sorry, yeah. CMDB OT integration with the vulnerability management piece. I'm guessing it looks like it's because you have that capability. It implies that you're able to capture software within the CMDB for those ICS systems. I'm trying to understand what type of framework are you sort of using to, like, is that integrated with other external services, or is that something that you guys are using? Is there a certain SBOM framework that you guys are using, or how is that integration? What does that look like to sort of identify those software part of the inventory?
Yeah, good question. By the time the mic comes to Bradley, I'll try and answer it. So you're absolutely correct. We use different integrations from a security perspective, where we bring vulnerable items associated with the discovered asset. For example, if you have an integration with an OT security provider who are discovering these assets, they can also show us vulnerabilities associated with it. Once those vulnerabilities are discovered, they are sent into ServiceNow, and then we can use the business context, the criticality of OT assets, to create a set of rules that will help us create those risk score associated with vulnerable items, and then prioritize it accordingly. From a framework standpoint, I think Bradley can add a few more.
Yeah, so for software, we could certainly model that in a number of different ways, depending on the source where you're getting that data from, either in terms of like installed software packages or even running processes that can be detected. All those can be associated with whatever asset you're looking at. So happy to connect with, I don't know who is right over there. Happy to connect afterwards, go into more detail.
Any other questions?
Hi, thanks. Chris White with ExxonMobil. I had a question about the maturity of the OT product itself. How long has it been kind of in the suite? And then if you could tell a little more about where it's going, so I understand kind of the integration of Purdue model tagging into the CMDB. What's next?
Great question. So we started working on the product about 2 years ago now, and we launched the suite of OT management product line back in September of last year. From a maturity standpoint, what you have seen so far, the visibility piece, the ISA 95 equipment model, the Purdue model, the OT standardized classes, the vulnerability management, all of those products are established and are currently either in deployment or have been deployed with certain customers. As far as where it is going from a roadmap perspective, as I tried to mention early on, that the problems that we have seen in the world of IT are now becoming problems in the world of OT. And if you're familiar with ServiceNow's IT offering and ITX portfolio, we have vulnerability response, security incident response, hardware asset management, software asset management, all of those offerings available, GRC risk in the world of IT. And we are considering those as some of the future offerings. Once we get enough feedback from our customers that that's the direction they want us to go, we will formalize some kind of a roadmap for those offerings going forward. I would like to give you guys time back. We have a cabana that will be set up this afternoon. So if you have more questions or want to do a deep dive in the product itself, you'll have some of our experts readily available right there. And please visit us at the cabana this evening. Thank you.